Welcome to an overview of Crossroads to the West, a cloud-based virtual tour of locations of historic significance in the story of the Mormon Trail and the Latter-day Saint pioneers at the Missouri, created with Map and Tour software. This is one of several major projects of the Historical Pioneer Research Group. Our mission is to identify the people, places, and events that occurred during the 7-year sojourn of those forced by mobs from Nauvoo, who fled to winter quarters and then the Iowa settlements. The pioneers' arrival created what was called the Grand Encampment. Here, they waited for direction from Brigham Young at Taylor Pratt Hill, headquarters for Grand Encampment. Later, they received permission to cross the Missouri River into Indian Territory. At Cold Spring Camp, they determined to stay throughout the winter. Some moved to Cutler's Park, and finally to winter quarters. From winter quarters, many dispersed into the surrounding area. There are 90 known settlements and 60 cemeteries in Iowa that stretch 100 miles along the Missouri, each with a story of families and communities. Ours is to seek out these places along the hills and hollows near the Missouri. Come join us in our journey of discovery. Cutler's Park is the first civically organized city in what is now Nebraska and one of the first major headquarters of the church along the Missouri. A significant project of the Historical Pioneer Research Group was a revitalization of the Cutler's Park Monument and locating the settlement cemetery. The monument, made of concrete, which had been placed by the church in 1989, was in a state of decay and could not be repaired. Weeds and brush had overtaken the site. The monument was recreated using a granite stone, and a new interpretive panel is being placed. The sexton records for the Winter Quarters Cemetery also included burials for those who died at Cutler's Park. But where was the location? Knowing the settlement site and considering that the saints bury their loved ones on hilltops, we felt to start at a hill directly across from the monument and performed a dowsing survey which gave an indication of several dozen graves. We then contracted a ground-penetrating radar company whose survey reported 69 graves. So many lives were lost in the short few months that Cutler's Park was established. At the northwest corner of the cemetery, the Historical Pioneer Research Group placed a monument to remember those whose journey ended here before reaching Zion. From Cutler's Park, the Saints moved to the next headquarters, Winter Quarters. While many had crossed to Winter Quarters, many more spread from Grand Encampment to create small settlements up and down the river. Across from what is known as the Muddy Mow in Iowa, they established Canesville, the Iowa headquarters. Near Canesville was Carterville, a settlement on the Mormon Trail, a shortcut to Canesville. It was here in 1902 that the Great Western Railroad, when excavating for railroad tracks, uncovered bones. Old residents of the area reported that there had indeed been a pioneer cemetery on the hill. Learning of the history of the cemetery, we conducted 2 surveys on the site and identified 268 graves. It is thought that there may be others buried at the location, but the ground had eroded, making it impossible to survey the entire area. This cemetery, in number of graves, is second only to the Winter Quarters Pioneer Cemetery. Another settlement along the trail was Potter's Camp. Members of the Historical Pioneer Research Group have met yearly for 10+ years with members of Iowa communities interested in the history of the Mormon Trail. One investigation was of Potter's Camp, a settlement on the Mormon Trail. It was learned when visiting the Miller brothers, owners of the land on which Potter's Camp once stood, that graves had been unearthed in the heart of this little village. Out came the dowsing rods and another survey was made, and here again a ground-penetrating survey was called for. We learned that there were 9 graves. Here, in collaboration with the owners of the land, a fence was built to surround the sacred enclosure, and the HPRG placed a marker giving the history of the site and names of those who are believed to be buried there. When the Saints went west, some stayed in the Middle Missouri Valley and continued to live in their established settlements. One of these LDS, then Reformation Movement settlements, was Galan's Grove. In collaboration with the Western Iowa Pioneer Cemetery Association and the Harrison County Genealogical Society, research uncovered the location of the small Galan's Grove Cemetery. The process of determining the possible burial ground began with dowsing survey, followed by ground-penetrating radar funded by the Historical Pioneer Research Group, which located 9 graves. In collaboration with WIPCA and with a financial contribution of HPRG, along with the involvement of local Boy Scouts and missionaries from the Nebraska Omaha Mission, the cemetery was enclosed with fencing and a gate. News releases and newspaper articles drew hundreds of our friends who attended the dedication of the Abel Galan Memorial Cemetery. Through the research of Gail G. Holmes and other members of the HPRG, many settlements and cemeteries have been located. There are yet more to identify. On our list is Big Pigeon, Harris Grove, Cutler's Camp, East Liberty Cemetery, Preparation, and more yet to be discovered. We continue in our collaboration with the Western Iowa Pioneer Cemetery Association, Harrison County Genealogical Society, Historical and Preservation Society of Pottawatomie County, the Pioneer Research Library at the Trail Center at Historic Winter Quarters, Kindex Transcription Project, and the Winter Quarters BYU Project. Along with our own Early Latter-day Saints database, this Crossroads project, we gather, share, and protect the history of this important time in the early history of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Do you have pioneer ancestors who lived along the Missouri? Is their story your family heritage? Discover more at the Historical Pioneer Research Group's Crossroads to the West project, available on computer and mobile devices. Find us at earlylds.com. Download the Map and Tour app for your mobile device, open the Crossroads to the West project, and be routed to each location. Elder Ballard said, quote, "We must be sure that the legacy of faith received from the pioneers who came before us is never lost," end quote. This is our cause. There is yet much more to do in our effort to research, record, and preserve their story. Your support will help with the enormous cost, specifically of ground-penetrating radar, which is $4,000 a day. We express our gratitude in advance for your contribution to help us to ensure their legacy isn't lost. If you'd like to learn more or help in the work, contact us at pioneer-research-group@cox.net.